All of us at one time or another have asked, "Who am I?" But few have experientially explored the query with the vigor that Ramana Maharshi did at the tender age of 17. Instead of accepting temporary answers to the question, Ramana directed his inquiry with such zeal that he did not yield until the ultimate truth was realized. The remarkable feature of Ramana's enlightenment in 1896 in a small room in Madurai, South India, was its utter simplicity. As Paul Brunton retells it, Ramana was sitting alone one day in his room when a sudden and inexplicable fear of death took hold of him. He became acutely aware he was going to die, although outwardly he was in good health. He stretched his body prone upon the floor, fixed his limbs in the rigidity of a corpse, closed his eyes and mouth. "Well then," said I to myself, "this body is dead. It will be carried off to the burning ground and then reduced to ashes." But with death of the body, am I dead? Is the body I? This body is now silent and stiff, but I continue to feel the full force of myself apart from its condition. After this, Ramana fell into a profound conscious trance where he became merged into the very source of selfhood, the very essence of being. He understood quite clearly that the body was a thing apart and that the I remained untouched by death. The true self was very real, but it was so deep down in man's nature that hitherto he had ignored it. From this transcendental encounter, Ramana emerged a new person. No longer interested in the outward activities of his family and peers, he embarked on a journey to Arunachala, the Holy Red Mountain in South India, which is a highly revered sacred spot among Hindus. Subsisting on a meager diet, possessing no material wealth, Ramana spent his entire life at Arunachala meditating or teaching others the way of knowledge. What had he realized that was so profound that it dramatically changed his life and the lives of others? The answer is deceptively simple. The world arises in a field of consciousness. There is no beginning and ending to consciousness. That very consciousness is our true self. Ramana's understanding was not born of a long intellectual quest, but was based entirely on an experiential realization which resulted from a direct inquiry into the process of death. Descartes' saying, "I think, therefore I am," has glimpsed this fact. It is not thinking that creates I am, but rather thinking confirms a priori the underlying I am or awareness which allows for mental processes in the first place. The world in this purview is not material. It is an aspect of consciousness. Our small eyes do not create such awareness. They are merely products of it. Hence, Ramana's realization should not be equated with solipsism, which is the philosophical theory that the self knows nothing but its own modifications and that the self is the only existent thing. As he clearly indicates, the ego, or small I, does not create the world, nor is the world unreal. To the contrary, Ramana stresses finding the source from which the world and the ego appear permanent and certain. That source, Ramana argues, is pure awareness, the true self of humankind. The beauty of Ramana's insight is that it was exemplified in his everyday actions. Perhaps the most heartwarming stories surrounding Ramana's life concern his kindness toward animals such as monkeys, dogs, cows, and even birds. Ramana always treated various forms of life with the utmost respect. Ramana did not formally accept any disciples, nor did he see himself as a guru or a master. Nevertheless, both in India and abroad, he attracted a large following of people impressed by his teachings and touched by his radiance. Among his many admirers were Carl Jung, the famous psychologist, Paul Brunton, whose book A Search in Secret India made Ramana famous, Arthur Osborne, his eventual biographer, and Somerset Maugham, the novelist, who wrote about him in his book The Razor's Edge. After a long illness, Ramana died of cancer at 8:47 p.m. on April 14, 1950. True to his insight, Ramana did not grieve over the decay of his physical body, but made light of the cancerous growth on his arm and referred to it as a lingam. As to where he would go after death, Ramana replied, "They say I am dying, but I am not going away. Where could I go? I am here."